Okay, so Sanatana Goswami, for example, right? So he was living in a cave with a lion, and the lion became a humble disciple. And Haridas Thakura was living in a cave with a big snake, very poisonous snake. Nothing happened. Okay, so these are different stories there. Look at Prahlad Maharaj. Okay, so just a few days back only we really got the Narasimha Deva's appearance. See, he did not have any fear at all. But people are really afraid of cockroaches, people are, scorpions and even ants, everything, whatever they say, they just jump up. They are not Vaishnavas. That is number one, rule right there to really measure, are you Vaishnava or not? Okay? So Prahlad Maharaj was actually, he was really thrown from top of the hill, then he was put in the middle of so many poisonous snakes, he was said to be crushed by an elephant. Nothing could really touch him. So, but we are actually afraid of these small little things called corona. Okay, so now Lahiri started with fears and then ends with completely all the fears actually extinguished. Now if we look at the religion, okay, now let us into the philosophy. So if we take all the religions of the world, there are three kinds. Impermanent, that is atheists, all the Scientology, all the things are actually will really go there. Circumstantial, that means suppose something happens and Lord sends somebody, okay, Jesus Christ or Muhammad or or whatever that happens, he really sends someone. So those are all circumstances, right? So then the third one is eternal. Eternal means there is no difference at all. It is always permanent. Okay. So now the eternal, that's what the Nitya Dharma, which is also called Vaishnava Dharma. If you take the circumstantial, you have Vedic and non-Vedic. Vedic, they can really have deity worship and all the other things will come into, but non-Vedic, no. They cannot. They don't have any qualification to really even do the deity worship. Christianity, Islam, Judaism. If you see that, their teaching will be also like that only. Okay, so this is in a nutshell how you can really picture all the religions of the world. Now let us take the Vaishnava Dharma. So Vaishnava Dharma, so you can actually classify into two categories. Suddha Vaishnava Dharma. Suddha means pure. And Viddha means impure. Right? Vaishnava Dharma. So these two, as you read. And Suddha Vaishnava Dharma, which all about mainly the Jaiva Dharma is actually all going to be talking about. There are other names also. It's called Nitya Dharma, it's called Jaiva Dharma, it's called Bhagavata Dharma, it is also called Paramartha Dharma and Parama Artha, not the Paramatma, it's the Parama Artha Dharma. Parama means all completely above. And Paradharma. Okay, these are all basically Suddha Vaishnava Dharma, one thing. That's the Nitya Dharma. Then if we take the Viddha Vaishnava Dharma, then there are two categories there. One is, it is actually how it really got impure Viddha by karma. They think that karma yoga is actually the top. Okay, so because of that impurity, it becomes karma Viddha Vaishnava Dharma. And then the other one is Jnana. They say, Jnana yoga is the best. So Jnana Viddha Vaishnava Dharma. So if you take that, Jnana with the Vaishnava Dharma is also actually suggesting so many other things such as Panja Upasana. What is Panja Upasana? Worshipping of the sun god, worshipping of Ganesh and Durga and also Shiva and the karmic form of Vishnu. This is not the real Vishnu. Karmic form of the Vishnu who gives liberation. Okay, so this is how the whole Vaishnava Dharma can be divided into two categories. All right, and now Panja Upasana was actually invented by Shankaracharya. It is never, you cannot really see that in the entire Vedas. So sun god is for, see, the thing is the goal of a jiva as per them is dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Okay, so those who are interested in actually doing dharma, they will worship sun god. Okay, all the scientists actually belong there. Lord Ganesh for artha, to really get things, I don't want to get any obstacles for whatever nonsense I am trying to do. So they worship Lord Ganesh. And then Devi Durga, kama means what? Lust. Okay, I want a beautiful wife. I want to enjoy this world. I want this. So they will automatically worship Devi Durga. Then moksha. So for getting moksha, because you will get fed up with all these things and finally say, I don't want this world, I want moksha. Then they really go to Lord Shiva. Then Akash, like this is Lord Vishnu. So all the above, okay, if you really worship Lord Vishnu, you get all of them, including moksha. Lord Shiva cannot directly give moksha. Because he doesn't have the qualification. He will utter the Ramanama in the year, and then that is how he can give the moksha in Kashi, for example. You all know it. Okay, so this Vishnu is actually karmic Vishnu. Okay, who gives liberation. Now, also we really just saw that the three tendencies of the jivas, right? That's what the sloka is actually coming to. Badanti that tattva vidas tattvam yet jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabdhe. Okay, there are three ways that people can really understand. As far as the jivas are concerned, depending on their intelligence, their qualification or adhikar, they will take one of them. Brahma pravritti. This is basically where the Panchopasana is actually coming into picture too. And then, because they will say, Brahman is everything. Everything came from Brahman. Okay? So that is Brahma Pravritti. Then Paramatma Pravritti, those are the people, no, Paramatma is the one, that is the supreme goal, and they will take the Raja Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, and they go crazy on that. And finally they want the bliss by Samadhi. That is their goal. Okay? These things are not good. So then the third one is the Bhagavan Pravritti. So they will worship Bhagavan directly. Okay? So the Brahma Pravritti, they will argue that Bhagavan is also coming from Brahma, which is not correct. Okay? Then Paramatma, he said that is the ultimate. This even some paramparas actually say that what Paramatma is the ultimate, which is not true. Okay, so Brahma Pravritti, Paramatma Pravritti, and Bhagavan Pravritti. Alright, now if you really take the Vaishnava Dharma, there are three ways that, like fundamental principles. Yet Vinyate Sarvamitam Vinyatam Bhavati. That you really one jnana, okay, that particular knowledge that you by getting that jnana, you will know everything. That is Vaishnava Dharma. And under that there are three categories. Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. Sambandha means how we are all related. How these three vastus, what are the three vastus that we really talked about in the previous classes? Bhagavan is one vastu, and Jiva is other vastu, and then Maya, Jada, that is actually other vastu. These are the three vastus that you really have, right? And now Sambandha means the understanding the relation among these three. So Bhagavan is the full opulent, complete, right? And whereas Jiva is Anu, is actually very, very tiny form of the part and parcel from Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. And then what is Jada? Jada is all the material worlds. Okay, so who is creating the Jada? That is created by Durga Devi. He is a shadow. So shadow of the Lord. See, that's why it was actually comparing with a shadow and the light, right? Or shadow or the object, whatever. Now the thing is, shadow cannot touch. So that is why Durga has nothing to do with the prema there, what we are talking about Bhagavan. He is only a shadow. So people are worshipping Durga because they want to satisfy their desires. Okay. So what are the relations now? So Jiva is, which is the Adhina Tattva, Jiva is the part and parcel of tiny element from Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is full. So by nature, Jiva is a servant of Lord Krishna. And now Jada, what happens, how the Jiva and Jada are related? Because of the nature that Jiva is so tiny, what happens? It is subjected to the control by Jada. Maya, that is Maya. Okay. So now this is a Sambandha. So Bhagavan to Jiva, how they are related, and then Jiva and Jada, how related, I already told you, and also Bhagavan to Jada, how is that? Because that is the one small energy, the Sakti of the Lord, like a shadow energy only. Okay, so Durga is under the control of Bhagavan. Okay, so that is Sambandha. So because in order to become a Vaishnava and do real bhakti, you have to understand the Vaishnava dharma completely, as like this. Now that's Sambandha. Now what is Abhideya? So, and then before Abhideya, I will tell what is Prayojana. What is the goal? What is our goal? Our goal is Prema. Krishna Prema is the only Prayojana. There is nothing else. That is the only Nitya Dharma of the Jiva. Those Jivas who do not have the Prema, they are the one who will fall down, caught by Maya. Okay? So now to reach the Prayojana and we understand the Sambandha, we have to do what can we do to get there. Right? Isn't it? See, that is Abhideya, the activities. That is Bhakti. But the Bhakti, there are two kinds of Bhakti. Vaiti Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. If you really see the last portion of the chapter, that's what he was explaining. Right? So Vaiti Bhakti means Vaiti Sadhana. Sadhana means, the activities, right? So the Vaiti Sadhana, Vaiti Bhakti, is basically involved in following the rules and regulations as it is there the different scriptures. Most of the disciples, they will actually fall in here. Okay? But whereas Brajavasis and all those who really directly come from Goloka Vrindavan, like our Gurudev and all, they all belong to Raganuga automatically. Because for them the Vaiti Bhakti will be out of the question. That is why he really came out of the Sri Parampara. If you really see the history of our Gurudev. Right? Okay, so that is Raganuga Sadhana. Okay, so that is the Abhideya has two ways. Okay, so now next one, Bhakti also, when we say Bhakti, there are different kinds of, two kinds of, two categories again we can do that. Pure and contaminated Bhakti. What is contaminated Bhakti? Karma Mishra Bhakti, as we already just saw that. Jnana Mishra Bhakti. And Sutta Bhakti is the one which is actually dealing with completely with Krishna Prema. Okay. So, now, Karma Mishra Bhakti, what do they do? What exactly they will actually target for? They want to go to heaven and higher planetary system and they enjoy there. Right? Many of the religions actually get into this line. Now, Jnana Mishra Bhakti means Mishra, it's basically, it's actually contaminated by. Okay, so Bhakti is pure, but it's contaminated by karma or contaminated by Jnana. Okay, so the Jnana Mishra Bhakti, for them, the supreme goal is what? The Brahma Jyoti. They want to mingle in Brahman. If you really, when you read that, sometimes you may get confused. Brahma, what they are actually mentioning is Brahman. Okay, Brahma Jyoti. Lord Brahma is different. He is a creator God. Okay, all right. So now, if we see to take the whole thing together, you have the spiritual world, you have the material world, and whatever the jivas. Jivas are in the Tadastha region, which is basically intermediate. In between is called Tadastha region. That is why all the jivas are actually, not all the jivas, most of the jivas are actually come from there. These jivas will be, depending on, because they will be wandering throughout the universe, right? And these jivas can be now categorized into two ways, Baddha jiva and Mukta jiva. Okay? Baddha jiva means, those who are really bound by Maya. They are not, because they are also called Avudita Viveka. Avudita Viveka means they don't have any consciousness about spiritual thing at all. They are totally nonsense. They are actually dull. Okay, they are sleeping. Spiritually, they are sleeping. That's why they are called Avudita Viveka means they are not awakened. Whereas some jivas, how they get awakened? Because of the association or the mercy of some sadhu. So a sadhu can induce them to be awakened. So they get awakened. Oh, now I want to do bhakti. I want to go to spiritual world only. That's the only thing I am interested in. And now they will take up a guru. If one does not take up a guru, he is clearly a Udita Viveka. Because the first step to really, the sign of a Udita Viveka means they will have inclination to accept a guru and surrender to a guru. As we have just reading in the chapter, we are it's actually guru only, all guru only. So that's why here ends at the end. Everything is guru. Okay. So then eventually you become a Mukta Jiva. Okay. So Mukta Jiva, they really go to the spiritual world and then serve Radha Krishna over there. Okay. So, but now how will you get it? There are three stages towards the Prema Bhakti, which will take you to the to the abode of Lord Krishna, which is Goloka Vrindavan, not Vaikunta. Now, that is, first one is the sadhana bhakti. You have to start with the Vaidhi bhakti most of the time. Unless one is really very qualified, they will straight away jump to prema bhakti, like our Gurudev. Okay? Sadhana bhakti. They will follow the rules and regulations of the sastras, do all kinds of yajnas and this and that and so many mantras, so many, you can see. But they have to start somewhere there only. If the jivas, automatically do not have the prema bhakti already manifested. So then when they really follow the sadhana, then becomes bhava bhakti. Bhava bhakti means where, yes, now, you will have a mellow in your heart, that you will be attracted to actually Krishna. You will be having, you'll be so interested in actually hearing the Harikatha and then also singing his names and everything automatically. That is called bhava bhakti. Sadhana bhaktis are what? Just by rules and regulations. Jayas, mundane, doing yajnas and Purusha Shuktam, that Shuktam, these Shuktam, they're all sadhana bhakti only. Okay? Then come to the prema bhakti. Prema bhakti is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult to get. Because that is why, yes, a guru who is really having that raganuga, only he can give. Not every guru can actually give everything. It's not possible. Okay? This is very, very important. So then also we really saw that 9 limbs of bhakti, and Rupa Goswami actually expanded that into 64 kinds. But again, if you see that, the whole Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. The 9 processes of bhakti are hearing. Hearing of what? About Krishna. Chanting his names, remembering him, serving his lotus feet as a deity, worshipping him, offering prayers, being a servant to him, and being dear to him, and eventually you offer your whole soul to him. That is the 9 limbs of bhakti, angas. Okay? Then that also can be subdivided into 64. That is a big topic by itself. I cannot really get into there one. Then finally, yes, that time is there now. The conclusion, what he is saying. Very careful. In the beginning, he was really just trying to advise his guru. This is the big problem. And the guru, by his mercy, he was the one who really called him. Okay, you just come inside, sit here nearby. Why are you really become afraid of this snake? And then, of course, you all read the whole thing. And finally, at the end, this fear goes away. Because of the guru's mercy, he really got the initiation. And finally what? After that he really started chanting. Then only he put all the he decorated his whole body by tilak, all the 12 places. And he became a real Vaishnava. And all his name and fame and education, everything, he threw everything out. And we became a very different person. So now, Guru is everything. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. He is the Adi Guru. So he is the one who empowers those gurus who really come to this world to really take those Bhatta Jivas and the blood so that they get awakened so that they can actually go back. That is their only job. Otherwise they don't have to be here. So that way, in terms of getting prema, getting Krishna Bhakti, there is only one thing, that is Sri Guru. So there is nothing except Sri Guru. And you really write that as the very last one in the chapter. Okay? Now, this is a small homework for you. I mean, not a homework, for your thoughts. We are actually dealing with Naimittika Dharma. What is Naimittika Dharma? Naimittika Dharma means circumstantial. This is not the Nitya. This is not the real Dharma. Whatever, we are doing so many things. But they are related to Naimittika means what? They have nothing to do with Krishna Prema. Okay? Nitya Dharma is Vaishnava Dharma, which is also called Prema. Chanting, 9 Angas of Bhakti, worshipping demigod, Ganesha, Shiva, Durga and so on, doing Satyanarayana Puja, doing Ekadashi Vrata, doing Sandhya Vandana, that is probably the easiest one. Taking bath in Ganges to atone for sin, visiting Vrindavan, giving charity, doing Shraddha for past parents, doing Yajna for peace and wealth, community services, and Guru Puja. Think about it. It is not something that some are not obvious. You have to really dig into that and you can categorize that. Give a shot. What are the Naimitika dharma and what are the Nitya dharma? Okay, with that I will conclude. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.